The A29 amendment does one of the best things for Minnesotans that this bill has put in the way of same-day registration and being able to have their ballots counted on Election Day. Even though there are states that have provisional ballots, most of the states, or all of the states that do not have them, they replace that requirement with same-day registration. Minnesota has had same-day registration for some time, and what it does is it allows people to come to their polls and do a certification or a registration on that day and take their ballot and put it into the counting machine. What this bill does is it interferes with that. People will come to the polls. If they are not registered, they can go through the motions of registering, but they still will not be registered to be able to put their ballot into the counting machine. And in Minnesota, we have hundreds of thousands of people that use Election Day registration, somewhere around 260,000. And in the counties that where you would be doing the what we would again call the maybe pile. The maybe pile would have to go through another process. And in many cases, these maybe ballots would have to be straightened out by going to the municipality and clearing up their identity, clearing up their residency, clearing up the reasons for being challenged or being in that list of provisional ballots. What we understand from national agencies like the NCSL is that there's a massive number of people who do not go through that procedure for one reason or another. If they don't have transportation, if they don't have the ability to go and get this cleared up, or if they just don't even have the time. So what this does is it essentially eliminates the ability of same-day registration. There were 259,000 people, as I mentioned, that were same-day registrants in Minnesota. We can expect at least that many will be forced to fill out a provisional ballot. According to the U.S. Election Assistance Commission, between 2006 and 2016, over 30% of the presidential cycle provisional ballots were not counted. This goes directly into this idea that Minnesota's election systems can be credible, and the people who are using it right now have a lot of confidence in it. But when you go into the maybe pile, it may be an interference with people's confidence in our election system, and what happens then is that our turnout may drop out of number one. The over 2.6 million provisional ballots were cast in the 2016 presidential election alone. That's hundreds of thousands of ballots that have been rejected, typically due to voters not being registered prior to the election. That's interference with elections. We think that this is an overly costly solution in search of a problem. When we talk about costly, it's not necessarily a cost to the state, it's a cost to the counties to be able to clear all of these ballots. If you can imagine what it's going to take, in the state we're going to have people on duty after Election Day, and in fact the bill demands election judges on both sides of the aisle be present. So that's going to take a lot more employees to be secured to be able to handle these clearing these ballots. So what we see is that it's an interference with the ability to promptly have your ballot counted, and be confident that it is counted, and you will have to do a follow-up to make sure that it is counted. So, Mr. Chair, I will end my comments on it right now and answer any questions.